What's up, my little grimlets? I am here to give you guys a little update of progress on the truck. I'm going to be honest with you. I started to make a video of me breaking down the passenger side. Within about 5 minutes, I realized that content is not meant for YouTube. For those of you who know me, I have to be quite reserved with my postings on this app because I have to pretend like I don't swear like a sailor, which I know is frowned upon around here. So that being said, I'm gonna attempt to make a video for the other side and actually show you guys how to break all the suspension down besides the tie rods. I already have those off. But I am going to show you a little tip, a little Putrid Grim tech tip on tie rods here in a minute. But so far, we have removed the entire knuckle. Like I said, we've already replaced axles in here. We've got new shocks in here. We're going with a Rough Country 3-inch lift. So these are the beefy aluminum control arms that are coming in. Come with Moog press-in problem solver ball joints. We have a Moog lower ball joint already in here, which is probably going to be a pain in the butt to put onto the hub, but I'll deal with that when that comes along. Shock is just kind of sitting in there right now because I still have to drop the front transfer case down. The kit comes with a mount to actually drop the transfer case down. I'm going to have to drop that down. I also have to go rent the tool to replace the torsion bar keys. That comes in the kit as well. Front and rear shocks, add a leaf, all that kind of stuff is there. So far, I ordered a Moog kit. We've replaced the idler arm here, and this is your idler mount. So, in doing this kind of work, sometimes you got to Sherlock Holmes stuff. I ordered an entire kit for a 1990 Chevrolet K1500, which is what this truck is. What they sent me for an idler arm is this guy. As you can see, 2 bolt holes, and then it would slide straight down into here. However, mine is a 3-bolt on the side. So I start looking. Small town America, usually your parts stores and O'Reilly's. Get on the O'Reilly's for here in town, punch in the year, make, model, and it brings up that wrong part. Okay? Get online, start a search. Everywhere is bringing up that part for this truck. So I open the door to this truck. This truck is an 04 of 90. So I'm like, all right, well, let's search for an 89 and see if there's a difference. And there's not. However, I started doing some Googling and, the beep boop boop boops, clickety clackety on the keys. Start looking for K1500 idler arm, and it pops a picture of that one up, and then the site I'm on asks me to verify, punch in the truck, says it doesn't fit. Order it. What do you know? It showed up today, put it on, it's the exact same part. Sometimes you're going to have to Sherlock. Not everything that you get is going to come to you as it's supposed to be. There's a lot of crap out there. There's a lot of parts manufacturers. I love Moog parts. I usually only go with Moog suspension parts. Most of them are lifetime warranty, and pretty much all of them are serviceable. So, for you guys out there that may not know, may not do a lot of your own maintenance, may not do a lot of car stuff, what does serviceable even mean? So in the golden oldies, everywhere that moved on your suspension had a grease fitting. And when you got your oil change, they would jump around and grease all these fittings. That's what serviceable means. That means I can go in here and I can inject grease into all of these, which will actually keep these components working for a very, very long time. So you come on over here to tie rods, right? This is the old tie rod. When I change tie rods, I usually do inners and outers, no matter what car it is, at the same time. So here's my little tech tip for you guys. So I pull these out as one solid unit. Sometimes it is a pain in the butt. You'll need a pickle fork, hammer, and a whole lot of swearing. But what I do, so this is one I already did for the driver or the passenger side, and I went ahead and labeled it here. Passenger inner. You know what's an inner because it's got a jam nut. This is another thing that Moog is good for. On your tie rods, they actually send you a jam nut. So when your alignment guy goes to align this and then gets it where he needs it, he can lock this back down. It's not going to move. Another little tip for you that your alignment guy will appreciate: when you are putting this stuff back together, use a little bit of anti-seize. Now, a little bit of anti-seize turns into a lot of anti-seize. If you've never used this crap, it goes everywhere. It will basically just spread. So be careful how much you use. So I pulled this unit out of the driver's side just a minute ago. Now what I do, you got to remember, these threads here on a tie rod, both the inner and the outer, are reverse threads. So when you go to thread them into your center section here, you're going to be putting them in counterclockwise. A lot of people will, if you don't know what you're doing, you'll just keep spinning that thing clockwise and think that this is either this is stripped out or this doesn't work. Not the case. They are reverse thread. So the reason I keep these together as one unit is for this right here. I can put these together, new versus old, and eyeball measure from center to center the length of where these are at. So does that mean that you are going to put these back together and it's going to be a perfect measurement, your alignment's going to be perfect, the car's not going to pull, the truck's not going to pull, whatever? No, but you're going to be a heck of a lot closer than if you just randomly screw these in there with no comparison to anything else. Another thing you can do is count the threads. That will work if the new part is exactly the same and the threads don't go longer on the new part than they do on the old part, which is the case here. There's actually a gap here where there's no threads. Moog gives you more adjustability because they give you more threads. So counting threads isn't always the best, most ideal thing. I always pull them all the way out and compare them that way. This way I know at least, however this was driving before, it's going to be relatively close. Putting that anti-seize on there, your alignment guy is going to appreciate that because when he goes to make an adjustment, everything's going to be smooth, everything's going to be easy, nothing's going to be bound up. We also have mounted driver's side header. Had to pull the spark plugs back out. Once you've already run your spark plugs and your wires, it seems kind of obvious, but I marked the location of these wires where they went. Now by length alone you should be able to figure it out, or since you put them on anyway, you should be able to do it, but not a bad idea. I measured it, I marked it so that it shows me that this one's the farthest front, and I numbered them 4 through 1, starting with 4 at the front of the block. So just an easy way to do that. That means this side's all done, buttoned up as far as the header goes. We can plug these spark plugs back in, hook the wires back up, and that is good to go. I am gonna, like I said, attempt to make another video of popping this control arm out, busting the ball joints loose, how that all works, getting this whole hub off. I have to get this hub off and out of the way to replace the control arm anyway. We're also doing the lower ball joints. And then I've got to drop the front diff, which is in here underneath everything. This would have been a lot easier to do when we didn't have the motor and trans in there, but we weren't planning on doing a lift kit at the time, so that is where we're at. And yes, my garage is a disaster yet again, but things are coming together, so I don't really care. Also have to go to the parts store, rent a torsion bar tool to relieve the torsion off those torsion bars so I can replace the keys. The keys help with the lift, keep everything stable so that the front end's not trying to rip itself apart. Got to drop the front diff. We actually went with, instead of blocks on this, we went with an add-a-leaf kit in the back. So I've got to tear the spring pack down and put the add-a-leaf back in there. And then it'll be basically body panels, getting this thing back together. And then I've got to run a fuel line from the tank forward. I still have to hook the clutch line back up and then figure out how to prime the clutch line and get all the air and crap out of that, because that is something I've never done. We'll figure that out. YouTube's a good place to find crap, so I'm sure I can find somebody who knows what they're doing on there. And then once we get a battery and then readjust these valves, I've got to look in the book and see what valve lash is supposed to be set on these. Adjusting valves isn't super difficult as long as you know what the values are, how much lash you're supposed to have in them from the get-go. So we'll be doing that. Coy has been out here off and on helping me out. Sometimes it's just boring for a kid to be out here, I'll be honest. He's a busy dude. He works out at school 5 days a week, goes to school. I mean, he does everything he's supposed to do. As a kid, he's also just started driving. So we've been going out on a couple drives. So we got to get going on this truck because this is going to be his truck. I've got to get it running and driving. I am still waiting on tires to come in. For some reason they've been delayed in the great state of Texas for the last 2 weeks. I don't know what's going on out there, but I kind of need my tires. Have the wheels just sitting here waiting. I have gone through the wiring diagram and found the ignition wire from the old setup. Obviously, we took this from a TBI to a carb and an HEI distributor. So we found the ignition wire. We've got that wired up to the HEI right now. So hopefully this thing will fire up. I've got a bird's nest of wiring to go through. All of this stuff up here is for the TBI. I haven't exactly decided what I'm going to do with it all yet, because obviously I don't need any of it. I don't know if I'm going to spool it up somewhere, cut it out. I don't know what we're going to do, because this thing's never going back to TBI. If anything, it's going to go to a modern style TBI, like a kill shot or a Holly sniper setup, something like that. We won't need any of those wires anyway. I do have the winch I'm going to get mounted up on here, which is in the box over there. We've got to get the other header on the passenger side. That is going to be a nightmare. Rear bumper's got to go on, and then it is all body panels. Then we've got to go get a battery. The winch requires at least a 650. I'm probably going to try to find an AGM battery somewhere in the 800 range so that we know we've got enough cranking amps for all of that. So, there will be a video coming along. Hopefully, tearing that other side apart. I got to figure that all out. I don't have pretty much any way to hold the camera that I have. It's just a little camcorder. I may throw it on my bucket over there and see if I can get that to at least hold an angle good enough that you guys can see halfway what's going on. But yeah, just gave you guys a little update. Things are moving along. Work's coming up. I work pretty much all week. Things have been a little hectic lately, so haven't gotten as much time out here as I would like to, but that's just how it goes. So, to all my little grimlets, friends, Clay, Gersty, thanks for checking in on me, brother. Everybody out there that watches this, all 3-4 of you, my brother sometimes watches this, friends, mainly. I don't think anybody that's not a friend besides buddy with the truck there. Thanks for watching, man. Just remember, things can always be worse. We all go through tough times in life. If I had one message for everybody, it's to try to look on the brighter side, man. I am not the most positive person a lot of the times. There is times where get perturbed and I'm about to lose my mind, and it's usually over something really stupid. You just gotta take a step back, man. Breathe. There's always somebody in a worse position, whether it be mentally, financially, emotionally. Caring's free. Be nice. You ain't gotta love everybody. You don't even have to like everybody. But you do have to deal with people. And if you can't deal with another person, I'm willing to bet the problem is not all on them. So just think about that. Put it into perspective. Guys, do what you do. Give me a comment. Give me a like. Give me a whatever. You know, tell me I suck. Repost it. Share it. Tell your friends. I don't care. Do something. Interaction is pretty nice. Everyone that has interacted, for the most part, I know. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys taking the time to even, watch this crap. I know it's nothing important. There's a lot more important things going on in the world right now. This is not a platform for politics. This is not a platform for any of that kind of crap that's going on right now. There is a lot of bigger issues going on in the world. There's a lot of bigger issues going on in small town America. That's life, though. You deal, you move on. Stuff sucks sometimes. Keep your head up. And stay safe out there. Talk at you later.